So I'm watching this, and we going along in the series. Now, I'm going to tell you how I've been working on this. I watched the whole thing, the whole 8 parts, and then I was like, okay, I want to break this down. You know what I mean? And share this with you guys, what I've learned, right? And then so I started watching them again, and this time I took notes, what I wanted the clips I wanted to add, things, my thoughts, in certain places, and then the outside clips that I wanted to add and things like that. So then I went through them again, right? So now we really getting down to crunch time. Now we getting down to the nitty gritty, to the actual full-fledged genocide, and we still haven't gotten to the part that I know I saw on the Nuremberg Laws, where they broke down the bloodline, the grandmothers, and this and this and this. It was a complete breakdown. All of a sudden, that seems to be missing from the documentary I know I saw. Okay. And the funny part about it is I was watching it, and I know I saw a part where they started to show this paper I'm about to show. They started to show this paper, and then it cut off. It abruptly cut off. And I can't even remember. I was gonna try to have that clip for you, but I don't even remember where I saw it. I've been watching this thing so many times. That's what you gotta understand. When I'm doing these videos, I'm almost living and breathing and eating this for weeks. Oh God. But I will say this, I think it's really important, and I do enjoy sharing with you. And it's also a record of me, of what I learned, because I tend to forget sometimes some of the things that I've learned already, and need refreshers. So, it's and I get to share with you guys what I learned. So, I don't mind, but understand it's, it could be intense. So I don't remember where I saw that thing. But anyway, so I found it's somewhere else, so take a look. Actually, before we get into that, right, before we get into the actual laws, they keep throwing around this term, anti-Semitic. So, right, the Jewish people are called Semitic or Semites, right? What is that? Semite, a member of any of the peoples who speak or spoke a Semitic language, including, in particular, the Jews and Arabs. You ain't really answer no questions with that. So what's Semitic then? Okay. Semitic, relating to or denoting a family of languages that includes Hebrew, Arabic, and Aramaic, and certain ancient languages such as Phoenician and Akkadian, constituting the main subgroup of the Afro-Asiatic family. Afro. Let's get into those Nuremberg laws where they broke down bloodlines.
Once and for all, who is a Jew, so they could focus their efforts at isolating them, hopefully expelling them from their perspective, and ultimately murdering them. So if you look at this chart here, which says in German the Nuremberg Laws, it basically is a graphic demonstration of who is a Jew by Nazi law. Here on the right, you see these two columns here define who is a Jew, or Jude. You can see at the top of the columns. The circles represent, in the top, the Großeltern, or grandparents, and on the right you see there are 4 black circles representing 4 Jewish grandparents. That would result in a grandchild that is fully Jewish, 4/4 Jewish, and the little dotted line connecting him to a white circle representing an Aryan is specifically indicating that marriage is forbidden. That's what it says right underneath, "Ehe verboten." And then on the next column, immediately to the left, you see also a Jew is someone who has 3 Jewish grandparents. Those are 3 black circles at the top. One of the Jewish grandparents is married to an Aryan, and this would result in a grandchild who is 3/4 Jewish, who is also considered fully Jewish for the purpose of marriage and not able to marry an Aryan. It should be borne in mind, of course, that the Nazis had no use whatsoever for the halakhic, or Jewish legal definition of a Jew, which is matrilineal. They were concerned only with their racial ideologies, and the Nazis were actually quite enslaved.
Say what now? Racial.
To their own ideologies in this regard. They also characterized several individuals, several thousands of individuals, as Mischlinge, or mixed race. In the column on the right, you see a Mischling of the first degree.
Mixed what? Mixed race? Not mixed religion?
That would be someone who had two Jewish grandparents. Either their one parent was completely Jewish, as you see in the small diagram just on the top right, or if both of their pairs of grandparents were intermarried. And then in the middle column, you see the Mischling of the second degree. This is someone who has only one Jewish grandparent, and there were some leniencies, at least initially allowed, for a person who was only 1/4 Jewish. And then over on the left, you see finally Deutschblütiger, or German-blooded. And with this chart, the Nazis were able to institute a whole series of measures of persecutions against the Jews. Also in the Nuremberg Laws was the so-called crime of Rassenschande, finally placed into law. This is something that Hitler had a very personal paranoia about, that refers to relationships between Jews and non-Jews. The term Rassenschande means race shame. And you can see here in this public humiliation of a mixed couple, the Aryan woman on the right is forced to wear a sign in public that says she is certainly the greatest pig because she spends time with Jews, and the man on the right says, I, as a young Jewish man, always, that's underlined, only take German women into my room. So these two elements were particularly prominent in the Nuremberg Laws. It's also worthy to point note that in November of 1915, many of these laws were extended to other non-Jewish people, such as the Roma and Sinti, more colloquially known as the Gypsies, who suffered in a manner commensurate with the Jews, although on a smaller scale because of the population differences, but the thrust of the legislation was equally directed at the Gypsies as well.
So watching this made me think about this clip from this movie I saw called Rabbit Proof Fence, which is about the whitewashing of the Aboriginal people in Australia, and i.e. the black people that were already there in Australia. Just take a look.
Notice, if you will, the half-caste child, and there are ever-increasing numbers of them. Now, what is to happen to them? Are we to allow the creation of an unwanted third race? Should the coloureds be encouraged to go back to the black? Or should they be advanced to white status and be absorbed in the white population? Now, time and again, I am asked by some white man, if I marry this coloured person, will our children be black? And as chief protector of Aborigines, it is my responsibility to accept or reject those marriages. Here is the answer. 3 generations. Half-blood grandmother, quadroon daughter, octoroon grandson. Now, as you can see in the 3rd generation, or 3rd cross.
So with that being said, I'm not saying that we should sit here and call these people black. We should not, because they are not. They say they're not black. Okay, they don't claim to be black. We should not. I want you to just... Let me just interject. I am not about accepting any groups of people who do not claim their blackness at all, whatsoever, whether it be real blackness, fake blackness, whatever. If you do not say that you black and you don't claim it, I'm not going to help you and let you join in. It's a privilege to be black. You don't want to be black, don't be black. And I'm not accepting you as black either. See, they try to tell us that it's about religion. It wasn't religion that they wanted to extinguish in the Jewish people. It wasn't their religion. That's all I'm saying. And if they did that to people who have the tiniest, minute portion us, with all our shining melanin glory, we're full of. what they were trying to extinguish, the little portion. Okay, so I'm going to continue, but like I said, it was getting further along, and I was like, well, what happened to this part? So, we're going to wrap this up, and then get right back into the documentary, which is also wrapping up because we getting down to the nitty gritty, and we don't really need to get into too many details on that, because that's not what this is about. This is about, let's remind y'all, how can we see the signs in psychological human behavior of white supremacists? How can we see the signs so we don't end up standing in front of dead thousands and hundreds of dead, hundreds and thousands of dead loved ones, or dead people that look like us, who by extension are loved ones, and we're shocked and don't know what to do and don't know how we got here? And Frances Cress Welsing says all the time, we shouldn't go around hating people. Hating people is a waste of energy, and we need to conserve all the energy we got for this fight. So we don't have the energy to hate people. We only have energy to lift up our own. That's it. That's all we got. I tell a story all the time. I've told this story in my live. It's like, let's say there's a person that has a child, right? And that child has friends, right? And all of the friends usually come to this child's house, right? With this parent. And the parent is the cool parent. And, that parent looks out for everybody else's child too. Treats everybody else's child like their own, all that kind of stuff. All of a sudden, that child, the actual biological child of that parent, gets sick. Let's say hospital sick, something that puts the child in the hospital. And let's say the kid down the block has a school fight, and somebody comes to that parent and says, hey, you used to look out for XYZ all the time. They just got into a school fight. That parent's going to be like, I can't focus on that child's school fight. They're going to have to focus on their child that is sick and in the hospital. To bring this home, Black people, I look at Black people as that child that is sick and in the hospital. I feel your fight. It's not that I don't feel for that child. It's not that I don't, but I can't. I got to focus all my energy on this right now. You got into a fight. This child's in the hospital. You'll be all right. I gotta focus. I can't focus on both. I gotta focus. And that's how I look at me and my people. And everybody else. I'm sorry. I feel bad for you. But I gotta focus. I feel bad that, whatever atrocities that are happening to other people, but I gotta focus on Black people, because we've been facing atrocities for the longest time, and no one has been focused on us. No one has tried to help us. We're seeing all these videos that remind me of propaganda. Aren't you seeing the signs of our children dying and being knocked in the dirt and heads bashed into cement? I can't worry about your school fight. And that's just how I feel. So Black people, I love you, and we're going to keep fighting. I appreciate all of the comments that I get saying that, you guys are thinking differently, because that was the point of everything I do. And it makes me feel that the hard work is purposeful. And I hope that this is continuing to do that. And like Professor Kaba says, it ain't over till we win.